Welcome to Craigoala, the KO Koala Entertainment Halo podcast. My name is Anthony Nicolosi. I am joined by
Marcus, the editor.
Sinister Plum, or Jake.
And the one and only Potato Boy.
Oh, pretty smooth shit. Today,
We
wow. We're getting better at our intros. Fuck, we need Steve Downs to introduce this one too, but he's really expensive.
Oh yeah, that is.
Okay, today we are talking about a rumor. Okay, let me preface this with saying we are well aware, for those who are listening, that this rumor could likely be total bullshit, but we're going to pretend like it's as legitimate as it comes, straight out of Sketch's mouth. It is the rumor that two Halo spin-off games are in development. One is Halo Wars 3. I'm wearing my Halo Wars 2 shirt, and it's fucking cool. I bought it at Hot Topic once upon a time. And the other one is a spin-off game involving, it's a campaign spin-off game involving the Fireteam Osiris from Halo 5, Locke's team, basically. Surrounding what they've been up to, the rumor says, what they've been up to during Halo Infinite, which also sort of implies, should this rumor be legitimate, which we're going to assume it is, because of course that's the rational thing to do. Hey, look, everybody else is bitching right now about terms of services in like fucking Nabisco snacks. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to pretend like this rumor is true. We're going to talk about it. What we'd be excited, or would we be excited about these things? We'll also talk a little bit about just the general notion of like these spin-off games. It's been a while since we've had we've never had a first-person spin-off Halo game outside of ODST, and ODST is, for a lot of people, their favorite Halo game. So anyway, we'll talk all these good things. Let's start with the Marcus man. Marcus, let's say Halo Wars 3 is a thing, and let's say there's a spin-off game involving Fireteam Osiris. Would you be hyped?
No, yeah, I would absolutely be hyped, especially since, Halo Wars 2 is so good, and part of what this rumor was talking about is that it'll continue with the fight with Atriox, and more Atriox is always a good thing, because, I will never forget the opening cinematic where Atriox just kicks Red Team's ass. It was so cool, and I'm so hyped to, especially because, they could do so much with another Halo Wars, with the Banish and everything, especially with how it will tie into Halo Infinite. That would be so sweet. In terms of the Fireteam Osiris thing, from what we know,
hold on, Marcus. You are cutting up so bad. You're cutting up so bad.
How it showed all the
Marcus.
Pelicans, and then they all turned out dead, and one of them was Fireteam Osiris. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's it pretty much confirmed that Osiris is dead.
First of all, did you hear me, Marcus? What I was saying?
I am.
You're good right now, but you were cutting up real bad. So just, you were going at quarter of your normal speed. If it happens again, I'll be giving you signs and shit. We'll just switch to another. I did hear though the general gist of what you said. There was on that last note, there was what was it, a Mega Bloks little dude who, he was a brute with special armor, apparently not Estrom. He didn't look exactly like Estrom. Yeah, the Lego listing, the Mega Block listing called him Hyperius, and he had Locke's helmet on his shoulder, sort of implying he had, either killed Locke maybe or beat him in battle, somehow got his helmet and was wearing it as a trophy of sorts. However, we have not seen any more of this Hyperius, nor have we, as a side note, there was a book, Bad Blood, that came out right after Halo 5. Well, not right after, but it's about the events that happened right after Halo 5 came out. And, oh my gosh, I'm trying to do this all on the fly. And we hear a little bit about what Fireteam Osiris is doing there, but we don't really know what Fireteam Osiris is doing right now or what they've been up to.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna kind of assume that this Fireteam Osiris spin-off game could be like a game sort of like Reach where it shows them all dying, you know?
Interesting.
Which I think if they do that and if they do it well, I think it could be really good because it'll give a lot more emotion and like personality to Fireteam Osiris, because that was one of the biggest complaints I've seen against them, is that they're just a kind of boring, or like they besides Buck, from what I've heard, Buck is like the only one that was like, oh my gosh, this is insane, I can't believe Buck's a Spartan. But all the other ones, it was just like, who is this? Why do I care about them? These people are pretending to be more important than I actually know. So I think an Osiris game that is done well, really well, could be very, very cool, and much needed because it's such a cool concept. It's like in Halo 5, it was just like a team to hunt down Master Chief. Like, that's so cool. And from what I've heard, it didn't really work out that well.
What do you mean from what you've heard? What do you mean from what you've heard?
Like, I've heard people talk about the Halo 5 campaign, like the Act Man and other game critics and everything, and it was like...
But what did you think? Did you not finish the Halo 5 campaign?
No, I personally, I haven't been able to finish it.
Gotcha.
But from what I've seen, they seem a little bland, besides like Buck and everything. They like pretended to be more important than they actually were, or not that they actually were, but it's like we didn't really understand fully why they were the way they were. And so I think a Fireteam Osiris game done really well would be a really good thing for them.
Okay.
Especially if it ties into Halo Infinite.
What do you think, Sinister?
That would be so perfect.
I feel like I personally like a game like that because, well, when I look back on Halo 5, it's just they never like the only good character in Halo 5 on Osiris was Buck, and even then, he was less of what he was in ODST, even though he was a Spartan, and he could have done so much more. But he was less of what he was in ODST, which was disappointing. But anyway, the others couldn't really care for him at all. Like, Locke is just... He's kind of like a very overconfident guy who thinks he can bring in this, like, the most powerful super soldier ever to exist.
So
Who could take on an army on his own. You're just like, you don't relate to this guy at all. Like, he doesn't have a reason. It's just, I was assigned this, and I don't have any questions. And he doesn't feel like he shouldn't do it. There's no, like, conflict between him and, like, his officer who assigned him to bring him in. Like, there's nothing there. It doesn't really show you that he really gives a shit that he's going. And he's kind of just boring all out, and he thinks he can just go into a suicide mission and go hunt down the Master Chief without any complaints. And Buck, I think Buck is the only one in the campaign who actually said, are we really going to do this? The people are going to hate us for this. And he was the only one who actually gave a shit that they were hunting down the Master Chief. So, and then same with Vale and Tanaka. They were basically just mindless characters just kind of following Locke. And that was about it. Like, Buck could have been the leader, and and the others, they could have been mindless, and it could have made Osiris better somehow. But yeah, I feel like if they give them a personality in the next game, like something that, because the theme is the UNSC is broken and all that, they're hunted down and all, and they're in a very bad position. So it's like Halo 1 through 3, where UNSC has resorted back to Earth and that only, and they're just in a really tight position. And I feel like they could do a lot to bring Osiris a personality in that. And like, I mean, it also depends on the, like, situation they're in, because they'll probably not be in the exact same situation as Master Chief per se.
So
They might be running
So you
very
don't.
different ones.
The way I'm reading your response right now, as it currently stands, you don't really super like Fireteam Osiris overall. You think Buck is cool, and they're going to have to create a compelling storyline to make that kind of a game interesting to you. You don't have necessarily.
Yeah.
For example, imagine that the spin-off game was Blue Team, right? Like the spin-off game is about Fred, Kelly, and Linda. You're them doing some crazy shit. Even if it's like playing through the events of Shadows of Reach, a book that just came out for the people who read it. So, but like that, would you say that's more interesting to you than a Fireteam Osiris game?
It could vary, because with Fireteam Osiris, I feel like they have a major amount of potential. That's the thing. It's just 343 did an incredibly shitty job at using their potential in Halo 5. So if they could make a spin-off where it uses more of their potential, that'd be pretty cool. But then the same could go for Blue Team, where they were like, I'd say they were actually projected more like human and all that than Osiris, because Osiris kind of just mindlessly did things, where Blue Team would always have each other's backs and all that. In the cutscenes, you'd see that they'd always be communicating and all that through their, and it wasn't just like, we're gonna do this, okay,
so
we're gonna
it
do
sounds
this,
like it's
okay.
even. It's even to you.
Yeah.
It just would depend on what the
but they could
stories and
also-
stuff was.
Yeah, they also gotta like consider what they're gonna do there, because from what I've seen of Shadows of Reach, there's a lot that goes down involving the Blue Team characters. More specifically, I think what was it, like Kelly and her leg or something?
Are you? Did
maybe
you
it was
finish reading it,
Chief.
Sinister?
No, I got the sum up from Halo Follower, and that was about it.
Okay, and
But
Marcus, you're not
I
going
saw
to read it
something.
either, right?
I don't know. Probably not.
Because if not, okay, I just made the decision for you. You're not going to read it. We're going to include it in our conversation a little bit today, because
Yes, we're gonna have to.
yeah, because I think it plays into especially the Halo Wars 3's play. Let me kick it to Potatoes. Potatoes, what do you think about these leaks that we are pretending are super legit and real?
Well, the super pretendable leaks that I'm hearing about, Halo Wars 3 is gonna be freaking awesome. Because after reading Shadows of Reach, you guys don't care anymore. We see Atriox come back. We don't know what he's gonna do. Everyone's freaking out. Like, what's Atriox gonna do? Halo Wars 3 showing Atriox doing whatever, and like showing what he's doing. In the beginning of Halo Infinite, that's why you don't see him in the trailer to Esrom. Like, you're wondering what is Atriox doing in that time where Chief's battling Esrom on Zeta Halo. And I feel like they're going to talk about that. Hopefully we get, I don't know what Red Team's doing. I want to see some more Red Team, because Red Team was freaking badass in both Halo Wars 1, Halo Wars 2. But it just going to explain a lot. After playing Halo 5, reading Shadows of Reach, and watching the Halo Infinite gameplay trailer, there's so much to wonder about. And your main focus on Atriox. Atriox is probably like the biggest bad there is. I don't know, that elite commander would have been sick, but he died.
I know who you're talking about. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the 10, whatever. But Atriox is for sure the coolest villain I've seen so far. I think he's cooler than the Didact. Way, way, way cooler than the Prophets.
Yeah, that's a separate topic we should talk about one time. The coolest bad guys in Halo, or whatever, the bad guys in Halo. I will say, yeah, as Matej just kind of alluded to, I would say the biggest thing that came out of Shadows of Reach is that Atriox is on this side of the galaxy now. So he was on the Ark, For those who don't really understand what's the big deal about that, Atriox in Halo Wars 2 was on the Ark, which is basically just so far away from the Milky Way galaxy, even with slip space and all that bullshit. The only way you can get through that is using Forerunner portals. There's a Forerunner portal on Reach. So like what Shadows of Reach is basically about are the banished on Reach are trying to get access to this portal to let Atriox, or at least the way it's initially pitched is actually for them to go through the portal to go help Atriox out on the Ark. But then once they do find the portal and Atriox comes through, it's revealed that like all he actually really wanted to do was to get on this side of the galaxy. Atriox just wanted to get back into the Milky Way galaxy. The Keepers of whatever their name is, the Keepers part of the banished,
the Keepers
sneak
of the
into
One
the Ark
Freedom.
at the end. The Keepers of the One Freedom sneak onto the Ark at the one. So I think what Halo Wars 3 will be is the conflict of a Spirit of Fire on the Ark, but there's no Atriox, and the Keepers of the One Freedom come in instead. As well, I'm sorry. So you have Banished, you have Spirit of Fire and Red Team, and you have Keepers of One Freedom. You know that they've also really recently released the Flood. I think that will kind of be like the interesting thing. I'm not sure if the Created in Cortana stuff will be in there. So that was like, I would say, one of the main takeaways. The other thing is that Blue Team is not after the portal in the book. They're after they are sent down there, for a special what's the word? Infiltration, into a secret infiltration into Castle Base or underneath Castle Base or whatever. There's a secret lab of Halsey's where they're pulling out some weird I don't remember what they call it, but like
biospoofers.
Well, no, they use the biospoofers to get in there, but it's like biological something, a tube containing biological matter of some sort on the inside that apparently Halsey thinks is important and will help them defeat Cortana. They don't say exactly what it is. They do successfully get it. Yes, as Sinister is speaking of, Blue Team gets pretty beat up in the process of doing all this. Things go pretty crazy, but anyway, that's...
Well, I was thinking, I kind of stopped myself from thinking this while reading the end of the book while Atriox is going through the portal and the Keepers go to the Ark because it's part of their religion or something to die on the Ark or whatever. I was thinking once Atriox leaves and the Keepers are going in the portal to the Ark, somehow Red Team manages to get in the portal. I don't know. There's probably not anything about that ever, but yeah, I just couldn't stop myself from thinking it's a cool idea.
Here's the thing, though, narratively, if you're 343, as long as Red Team are not really in the same timeline as Master Chief or not directly, Red Team can kind of get substituted in as Master Chief in any story they're in. You know what I mean? Like Jerome
is Red Team all Spartan 2s?
Yeah, they're all Spartan 2s. So they're similarly badass. In fact, some people even say that like if Chief ever dies, Jerome would be a great replacement. Like they're like at the same kind of character as Chief. They're like those like stoic, super mega badasses, silent types. Different than like Fireteam Osiris, who are much more personable. They're much more normal human, and right? They weren't kidnapped when they were kids and turned into super soldiers. They're like normal, super good soldiers who then get upgraded into Spartans. So I think that, I don't know, if I was 343's narrative team, while it would be cool to have like this Avengers style Red Team, Blue Team, all this shit, big huge battle, you probably wouldn't mind not, having those separate storylines and building that up a little bit before you have sort of that end game kind of huge thing.
I'll be back.
So, from my perspective, I think that's what Halo Wars 3 would be. Is that kind of a story with the Keepers of the One Freedom included as well. And Atriox, I think an interesting thing about the Shadows of Reach, I don't know what you guys think, Marcus and Sinister, is the fact that Atriox now could... I'll go as far to say is he's probably in Halo Infinite.
Probably somewhere down the 10-year plan in my eyes, I'd say. Because
Yeah,
when
I
you
agree with
think of
that.
it, it's like, because Infinite's going to be 10 years, so I feel like they'll, because they will evolve this over time. That is just going to be confirmed. They say it's going to be like a platform for other Halo games, so it's going to be like a new MCC. But at the same time, they also said it's the last mainline and that they're going to evolve Infinite. So the game's it's going to get added to. Like, I'm assuming Destiny style. Like with Destiny 2, they just added planets and all that, and the maps they've changed and all. So I feel like that might be a course of direction, and then they'll probably because what are the name? Hand of Atriox.
Mhm.
It's like those 7. There's Eshram. So far, what we know is they have Eshram and Jaga, which are 2 out of the 7 hands of Atriox, or
Are there 7?
whatever things. Yeah, there's 7.
Who said
So
that?
we still have 5 more. I think it was in the it's the.
I mean, you might
I think
be
it was
right,
with the
and
Jaga thing.
I might have missed it that there's
Don't know.
7 of them, but yeah.
Yeah, I might be confused too, but if there is 7, then we're probably gonna have all of that going down and all, and we're gonna like probably hunt them down bit by bit.
Damn, if
Like
there's
it's
7
like
and we only know 2,
assassination
that
things.
means there's like 5 more. That Hyperius dude that you're talking about could be one of those 5.
Oh, he isn't. You can see the they
But
get
didn't
specific marks on them that show the Hand of Atriox.
Hmm.
And he
But
he-
didn't in Shadows of Reach they said a couple of them?
they maybe, but they also in Shadows of Reach they were talking about a few elites and all that, or elites and brutes that are
Yeah, when they were walking
very
through the portal, they're
Yeah.
what is his name? The Singular Swordmaster, that
yeah
Castro,
Wait.
whatever.
that Swordmaster. He's on the map in Infinite. We're and it's like a target thing, so it's probably an assassination mission. But I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
went to
yeah,
the Ark
yeah.
with the Keepers.
Yeah, did he?
No, that's
Yeah.
you're talking about Gatagai.
Yeah, Gatagai.
Yeah, what?
That's what I was talking about.
Sinister's
I was saying
talking about another
Gatagai was talking about all the like huge brutes that were coming through the portal before Atriox did.
But were those the Hand of
Oro-
Atriox?
He was saying something about them.
He
that
said
they're,
they
like,
were super
important.
badass. I remember that part, and that they were like, yeah, this guy's fucking crazy because he killed 500 people with his toothbrush, and this guy's fucking crazy
Yeah.
because like they say all this kind of stuff. But I don't remember them saying they were Hand of Atriox necessarily.
Wait,
Anyway,
Well, they could be.
they could be.
Arcro Vagadoon. That
Yeah.
guy's a guy in the book. Yeah?
He's actually not in the book. I don't think he's
or
in the
was
book.
he in the short story?
Yes,
from
he's in the
Walmart?
short story that's only
Yeah.
included if you pre-order the fucking Walmart version. But
Alright.
yes, he
So-
did it say that he was one of them?
No, he's not one of the
Okay.
hands of Atriox,
We're
but
still only
let
like
me
2
let
at
me
7. But yes, he is a very important banished member, and he was on the mini map in Halo Infinite. Like if you see that part where they press pause, he's down in the corner,
a second.
kind of implying he's like an assassination mission or something like that in Halo Infinite.
Here, I got the picture right here. He's at the bottom left.
You're gonna show us a picture, but you're not going to use your freaking webcam, bro.
I don't got a webcam, man.
Just use your phone like the bros are. Yeah,
I don't
red
know
and
if I
blue
should.
here.
Purple.
Anyway, yes.
I guess I could go for black.
Well, anyways, Anthony, let's get your take on the leaks.
My
Yeah.
takes on the leaks. First of all, I personally think Halo 5, this is controversial. Okay, this is controversial. I'll say the first thing I'm going to say. I'm going to say a few things. Okay. Halo 5 shouldn't have had any chief missions, and it should have been a spin-off game completely. You should have only been Osiris. You should have, I agree with Sinister, they should have done more regarding like fleshing out the characters. Like before Halo 5 came out, there was Nightfall, which was that, not awesome movie.
Yeah, the one with Locke. And he
Not
was like
good,
a,
yeah.
he was a
With Locke.
agent.
So that was supposed to like sort of introduce Locke as a character. There was a book that actually was really good. I think it's called Hunters in the Dark. I read that one. That one introduced Vale. Tanaka, I think, was introduced in comics, if I remember correctly. So the characters were all introduced in their like separate mediums, and then you just go into the game. If you did not read those things, if you did not watch those, for example, I'll definitely say that having read Hunters of the Dark made me like Olympia Vale more going into Halo 5. Like, she was like one of them where I was like, oh, it's the Hunters in the Dark. Tanaka, unfortunately, like her comic didn't do much for me, and Nightfall was like a huge letdown for me personally. So
Wait,
Buck was
one
cool.
thing.
Buck was cool, right? Like, you're going into it, Buck is cool, and then Vale, I think, had a benefit from going into the story. What were you gonna say, Potatoes?
I was gonna say Tanaka was my favorite character.
Really? Why?
On Fireteam Osiris. I don't know. When you had like a thing to choose all characters, I would always choose Tanaka. I don't know, maybe because she had a DMR, but that's the reason I liked her the best.
She's got that kind of like shut the fuck up, beat you up kind of personality.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
That was just it. Keep going.
So yeah, from a Fireteam Osiris perspective, I agree. I think that what Halo 5 showed, I think of comparing Halo 5 to Halo 2, where nobody knew about the Arbiter, but then you play those first few missions, especially those first few cutscenes. Like, you didn't even necessarily have to play as Arbiter immediately. They just had those cutscenes of his perspective of getting branded by the Prophets, of him being on that drop ship, the Phantom Inn, and being like, you know, when Artes tells him, like, no, you know, their lives matter to me, yours does not, and he's like, that's two of us. You already have, like, you go into the first time playing as Arbiter with already so much emotional buy-in, I guess, from that very first mission where you come out with the Prophets with the fucking energy sword on the gas mine or whatever. You already like Arbiter so much, and it was, for me personally, even though those were only just a couple minutes of cutscenes for the Arbiter before you played for him for the first time, they were way more effective than the extended lore that you got for Fireteam Osiris going into the game. I just do not think that works, personally. I think that you have to introduce them within the medium to some extent first. And I don't necessarily think it takes a lot either, like the Arbiter kind of showed. Like, if you would have had a cutscene of Locke, you know that part where Locke was trying to save the he's trying to take down the elite with the fucking like bioweapon or whatever in Nightfall. If you would have had a cutscene about that, like at the beginning, showing him going through that, something of like, that might have been all you needed to sort of have a connection with the guy. But going into it, it does kind of seem like he's just some like cold, arrogant. Honestly, I think that the way he's written and the dialogue he has doesn't give him much depth either. He's pretty short with his, like, Buck's like, you know, everyone's gonna hate us, you know, and he's like, you're not the only one here because of him. That's like all that he says. Like, there's not more there, you know. There's nothing to get connected to in the game. So that's how I personally feel. That's my beef. So a Fireteam Osiris side mission, on one hand, could potentially be interesting, but here's what I think. In reality, I don't think that's going to happen, because we already got so much Fireteam Osiris. If you've got to make sure that the next Fireteam Osiris game is amazing, maybe like what Marcus said, maybe that would be amazing, where they all die. Like, you're Fireteam Osiris, and you're like going into some banished thing, and essentially Fireteam Osiris like gives their life to help the UNSC, like in a super dangerous mission shit thing. Okay, that could be cool. But like, if you have another game that just is lukewarm again, it's got to be really good. It's got to be really powerful. It's got to be whatever narratively. I don't know. That point, if it's not, it's like, can we erase Fireteam Osiris? It's like their last chance, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, what you're saying is like absolutely right. Like, you couldn't get connected with these characters because, you know, you had to do your homework in order to understand any of them. But the only one onto Fireteam Osiris that wasn't like that was Buck, because he was in in ODST, and that's why I think so many people loved Buck so much, was because like people saw him like progress. Like you saw him in ODST, and it's like, oh my gosh, he's so fucking cool. And then in Reach, there's like a little Easter egg when you're picking your firefight voice, where it's like the little description is like, if he was any better, he would be a Spartan. And then in Halo 5, he was a Spartan, and it was like, holy shit, he's so cool. And then he got lumped with all these other people that were pretty uninteresting unless you read all the extra media and stuff. So yeah, a spin-off game, potentially where they die, would definitely help Osiris's reputation among the Halo community, in my opinion.
Also, I don't think Buck is in Osiris anymore, isn't that right?
In that Bad Blood book, Osiris kind of got broken up. I could totally see him kind of getting reassigned. Like he wasn't on Osiris in Bad Blood after Halo 5, but I could see them being like, okay, Buck, we need you guys back together, to stop. It's psych. Hold on, pause. Buck better not die in that.
I was just gonna say, I kind of want to see, like, if Locke is gonna die, I want to see him sacrificing his ass for Buck. I really don't give a fuck about him.
Actually, hold on, really quick. Let me ask you, what would you guys think? Okay, in Infinite, or in this game, this Osiris game, if there was a brute like kind of like Estrom or something that showed up and just murders Locke, what would you think? Would you be more impressed by that brute? Would it make the brute feel like more, I don't know, ominous and scary than if he would have just killed like any normal Spartan?
No.
Okay, it would depend on how it plays out. Like if Locke's like going at him with all he's got, and he's not even like denting, because the fact of the matter is Locke is still a Spartan, and Spartans are fucking strong, and they're like they don't, because like with the whole Spartan serum, like people die getting it, and so you have to be like the best of the best in order to survive it and then become a Spartan, especially to be assigned to hunt down Master Chief. So like Locke is kind of not cool, but he's still a Spartan. And if it's like it shows him like trying his best to beat this brute, and the brute just is not, like nothing's happening, and he just destroys him, that would be pretty intimidating. Be like, oh damn.
I think for them to have to like redeem Locke, is Locke has to be like sacrificing himself for like Master Chief to be able to defeat Cortana. Like he has to get something for them to defeat Cortana. Like basically, Noble Team had to sacrifice their lives basically for Chief to get Cortana. No, Osiris is doing the opposite. And like if Locke is the last Spartan alive, everyone else on his team died, he like shreds through a huge firefight of Banished, and he's kicking ass, and then this one giant brute, like you were saying, comes and like just grabs him like Atriox did to Red Team, and just like destroys him. I think that would like make that brute like such a badass, but also like fix Locke's reputation as a Spartan, I guess.
But why would it? You mean if he died in this way while helping Chief somehow, then it would save his reputation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Chief would be doing this thing, like he's like putting in this code or something that like is bringing Cortana back, or I don't know, something like Chief needs his back covered, and Locke is just like taking everybody on. That'd be pretty dope.
I'd say that like, because Locke is one of the most powerful Spartan 4s, if not top 5, I'd say. So, of his rank, he is clearly very powerful, very capable. So, if a brute were to beat the shit out of him, like we were saying, if he was going at him full strength and all, and a brute just didn't flinch and just beat the shit out of him, like Atriox when all
He
of
fought
Red
Red
Team
Team, yeah.
was going at him and all that, and he just wouldn't flinch, and he just crushed Mjolnir armor and a shoulder of a Spartan at the same time. So that's basically him crushing the strongest metal on bones that are comparable to, let's say, some of the strongest metal. And that's a lot of fucking damage.
What you're
and
saying
strength.
is Atriox is a strong boy, and
He's very strong.
if somebody kills Locke, who is also strong boy, then he's very strong bad boy. Yes, yes.
I'd say
Strong
so,
bad
and I
boy.
feel like Hyperius might be the fit for it, because I mean, like he has a thing on the he has this helmet on his shoulder as
I
well,
cannot tell you
but he also just looks like
if this ends up being true, how fucking pissed I'm gonna be that we found out Locke gets killed from a fucking Mega Bloks figure. I'm not kidding. That will really
But
piss
they
me
did
off.
say
That
that,
was so
That'd be
stupid.
bullshit. Yeah.
They didn't spoil anything major. They said so. If Locke is dead, then it's clear that there like there's
Yeah,
a few options here. They either know that no one really gives a fuck about Locke, or well, think they know. Second, there's just that much going on that Locke's death isn't going to be much of a dent in the story to you. Or three, that was a lie.
Well,
So
I think 3 is just like, you know, Atriox busted Red Team and then keeps the helmet. You know, it could just be something like that. He didn't kill Locke. Maybe he beats Locke up,
Yeah.
and Locke almost dies, but Osiris saves him, and his helmet's left on the battlefield, and they take it as a trophy or something. So, you know, I was honestly, when Atriox almost killed Douglas, I was also upset. Like, I was like, God dang, we are like so low on Spartan 2s, and you guys are fucking getting them killed for no effect. Like that happened in the Blue Team's next 72-hour comics after Halo 4, right? Where to make Didac seem bad, he murders and slaughters all of Black Team, which was bullshit.
Yep.
Bullshit. So stupid.
Black Team was just so cool though.
Well, and that on
So
top of that,
good.
it's like, why Black Team? Kill like Gray Team or something, like somebody
they
we
could,
haven't
like,
heard from in fucking 5-6 years, and nobody
or they
super
could have
cares.
created Osiris on the side in comics and killed
Yeah,
them.
it could have just been
And then
fucking
Black
Spartan
Team could have
4s.
been Osiris's replacement.
Black
and it could have been
Team-
a lot better.
Dude, Black Team had
Ugh.
comedic relief. They were funny. They had some
So good.
inside joke shit, and they fucking killed them. We should have another podcast about how dare they kill Black Team.
Really
I cannot
wanna-
believe
like,
they killed Black
actually
Team. It was
kill the
so
Didact.
stupid. And I don't remember what collector's edition or whatever. There's of some book. There's like the director's cut, or maybe it's just a YouTube video somewhere where the writer at the time was Brian Reed, and he was talking about what he was thinking for some of those through Spartan Ops, I think, in the comics as well. I want to say Black Team was like because the audience had a connection with Black Team. It made them being the ones killed much more like resonant power, like how bad the Didact was and stuff. But I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it that's what in a fucking comic. Holy shit!
They have a tendency to put very cool and very important or very just in like very big things comics.
Shit, that's awful.
Just
It's like,
comics, man.
imagine if Spider-Man was killed in the comic series in like a novel or something. I don't know. Like, what the fuck? Like in a fortune cookie is really the equivalent.
Guys, I'm just scrolling through Instagram looking at memes and all, and in my feed I got a Halo one. It is about Buck, and the one, if he was better he'd be a Spartan.
That is
Fucking simulation,
great.
dude.
Yes, we are in a simulation.
In the
Potatoes,
simulation.
do you got any closing thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear them.
I gotta think about him first. Just kidding. Well, I was just thinking about when you're saying how dare they kill Black Team like that. I was like 3 for 3, and like Halo has just killed off some really cool people in stupid ways. like that one elite Zatan, whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, they killed that dude like the stupidest way ever because the grunt was messing with a bomb on their ship or something, and he died. He could have been like,
I don't know
one
if
of
I
those
know
badass
anybody more
characters.
salty about his death than you.
what?
I think you are the saltiest. I don't think I know anybody who's more salty about that guy dying than you are.
That's
Dude,
true,
because
yeah.
he could have been so freaking cool. He could have been Atriox, maybe even better than
Yeah,
Atriox.
he was super cool.
And I can't believe they killed him like that. It's stupid. But other than that, I didn't
Dude,
really say
Sergeant
anything.
Johnson is still going to be my overall. I can't believe they kill him worse. Like Marty,
that was
Marty said
dumb.
that it was Marty O'Donnell's choice. Like literally, the only thing that's saving Marty O'Donnell is that he made my favorite soundtrack ever. But he,
Wait, you're saying Marty said that?
Marty
they were gonna
was the
kill
one.
what?
Marty was the one because Joe Staten was busy with I don't remember what the fuck. He wasn't directly writing Halo 3. Marty said that the story, Halo 3 story, which I kind of agree with him. If you don't have Sergeant Johnson's death, if you don't have Miranda's death, didn't have enough like emotional impact to it. So he killed it's Marty's fault that Sergeant Johnson died.
No, the Actaman actually
Shit,
said
Marty.
something about this because he like rated the Halo campaigns, and he said that Sergeant Johnson dying and I already forgot her name. The girl. God, how come I can't?
Miranda.
My brain just like turned
Miranda.
off. Miranda, yeah. God. He said like they didn't need to die, but the reason why they died was because Halo 3 wasn't emotional enough. Because this was like the end of the trilogy. They needed to like pull some shit out, and he thought it was really stupid because it was just like they just died, and like that was that.
Wasn't Sergeant Johnson a Spartan?
He was
he
part
was
of
a
the
Spartan 1.
like if you will Spartan 1 program. But those guys didn't ever get Mjolnir and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I don't get the Spartan. Spartan 1 is like the worst, and there's like Spartan 4 and Spartan 3, and Spartan 2 is the best. It just doesn't make any sense.
we'll have
Although-
to do a podcast about the
Yeah.
Spartans and the different tiers and everything. Yeah.
So much we
With
can podcast
Johnson,
about.
he was actually supposed to be infected by the Flood in Halo 1, except he since he was a Spartan 1,
his
the
augmentations.
chemicals or whatever
Yeah.
in his augmentations set off the Flood. It really disturbed them, so they didn't want to infect him at all. So technically, he's more resilient than the Master Chief to like the Flood.
Yep.
So he has some very beefed up abilities.
Okay, so
The only
anyways,
reason that I
yeah.
say the-
Closing thoughts from Potatoes.
back. I guess Halo Wars 3 would be sick. I kind of hope they do a Osiris, whatever, knockoff game, spin-off game to fix the reputation of that team, especially Locke, because Locke has potential to be super sick. And yeah,
What if
these
Halo
rumors
Wars
are-
3 was a shooter?
dude, yes.
I know it won't happen, but fuck, it should, man. I wish.
Yeah,
or
dude,
I wish it
These
would.
leaks and whatever we said on this podcast are 100% true. So everyone listen. Okay?
Yeah. Included in those leaks, it's a shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, everything we said is 100% canon.
Yes.
I like this
Yes.
delay. You guys, whoever, if you're listening to it in audio format only, watch video just to see Marcus like teleport.
Yeah,
around while
Marcus
he
is just
talks, like a Promethean. Yeah. Dude, if you would have played, imagine
Maybe we do live in a
playing.
simulation.
Imagine playing the opening of Halo Wars 2 where you go into that base as Red Team in a shooter.
Yeah.
And you get your ass kicked by Atriox. First hand.
Oh, yeah, what if you could like for Halo 3, you're able to do all the RTS stuff and you just do all that stuff, and then there are points where you could teleport down to the battlefield and be first person like Marine or like ODST or something, like going into battle.
It would be. I mean, it
Awesome.
might be interesting. Would be crazy. Yeah, you all of a sdsudden you just like teleport in. And you're in ODST in a Warthog with fucking like 300 Banshees and shit. Like, whoa, yeah. I don't know. It'll be hard to implement.
What's going on? Yeah, that would be really hard. But
Any
damn,
other
that'd be
final
fucking
thoughts,
cool.
Potatoes?
Nope. Just loving Halo.
Loving
Yeah,
Halo.
Go Halo.
living that Halo life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go
Halo's
Halo.
a cool guy.
Yeah, shit. If you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to this, let us know. If you have any topics you want us to cover. We already bust out a couple ones talking about the Spartan ranks. Who's got the best, lady skills? Who's got the
What?
yeah,
I missed that one.
the biggest wang? Those are the kinds of things people want to know about the Spartan.
Yeah.
I see.
We were talking about Cyberpunk earlier today, so yeah, that's what we're
Customize my cyberpunk character.
I can't-
We should do a whole
If I can't
podcast
augment my
on
genitals in Halo Infinite.
Yes. We should do a whole podcast on Potatoes' favorite elite. There's lots we can do. Anyway.
Yeah, dude, I would talk for hours about how stupid that was.
Okay. Yeah, we should do a stupid narrative Halo crap podcast, including Sergeant Johnson's death and all that stuff. Anyway, right on to everyone who's watching right now, the few, and to the many who watch later. We'll see ya. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Finish the fight.
So long. Bye-bye.